Hi, Steve Clemons here. I direct the American Strategy Program at the New America Foundation, and I write a political blog called The Washington Note. I'm here with a few quick reactions to President Bush's State of the Union address. First of all, it was the least memorable speech I think he's ever given. It was not strident in a partisan sense. He reached across the aisle quite a bit. He used rhetoric in his speech that sounded very democratic sounding to me on climate change, on education and No Child Left Behind, on supporting our troops. I think his language on supporting the troops sounded very much like Chris Dodd, in fact. When it comes to the importance of the speech, I think it really was in punctuating two key points of the Bush legacy that he wants historians to remember. One was that he was the guy who institutionalized faith in politics, faith-based initiatives, focusing on American government taxpayer money going to faith-based initiatives. I think that's something that he wanted to remind folks of. And also, of course, tax cuts and trying to reinforce and make permanent these very, very large tax cuts that President Bush came into office with. On foreign policy and national security issue, he continues to seduce the Congress, the entire Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, into believing that the surge has been successful, that he has seduced them into a discussion of tactics as opposed to strategy. In my view, we've achieved almost none of the key political objectives that we have in Iraq, which is a real problem, and that despite the clearly improving numbers on violence, that in and of itself does not point to a successful American strategy. What may be in fact happening is that we're doing deals with mafioso-like characters, thugs in their own way, who are governing Iraq in regional and tribal and in city contexts, and that frankly is not what we are seeking to achieve. On Israel, I'm glad that the President underscored our efforts in trying to move Israel and Palestinian peace forward by the end of the year. He certainly has gotten at this earlier than President Clinton did. I think it's laudable and good, but I think there are lots of problems ahead. It is interesting that he referred to the region as the Holy Land. That probably is frustrating to many Muslim watchers and perhaps not diplomatically constructive. It is interesting when the White House put out its highlights of the President's State of the Union address yesterday afternoon, Israel-Palestine was not on that list. So while the President is giving its play, the White House handlers are not, something to note. On genocide, I was pleased to see that the President did mention Sudan and by implication Darfur. Nancy Pelosi was quick to jump out of her chair and applaud the President for mentioning that. Dick Cheney kind of looked around the room to see if in fact he should get up and didn't for some time, and then did finally stand up and applaud the President, but that was an odd moment. I think that that's pretty much it. I think when it comes to national security and foreign policy issue, the President gave a kind of kitchen sink address. What was really missing was any sense of vision, strategy, a plan for really dealing comprehensively with America's beleaguered national security position. It's my strongest critique of Bush about yesterday evening's speech. I thought the Democrats did a poor job in Governor Sebelius of responding, and I hope to see more thorough and more comprehensive and thoughtful remarks both about things like the stimulus package that was discussed and America's domestic agenda, but also how to get America back engaged in the way we should be in world affairs. So thanks very much for joining. Bye-bye.